Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. Tensions are rising between India and Pakistan. In fact, they're at a boiling point, with Pakistan now having violated ceasefire along the line of control for 10 consecutive days. As actions and reactions between the two countries continue, sources have revealed that the Pakistani military is facing a critical shortage of artillery ammunition that limits its warfighting capabilities to just 4 days. The Pakistani military doctrine depends on rapid mobilization in opposition to India's numerical superiority. However, with the recent arms deal with Ukraine severely draining the country's war reserves, Pakistan is struggling to replenish supplies amidst surging global demand and outdated production facilities. All these factors have reportedly diminished Pakistan's ammunition reserves to such an extent that it can only sustain 96 hours of high-intensity conflict. Now, with a military that relies heavily on artillery and ammunition units, the shortage of those very resources have serious implications for Pakistan's warfighting capabilities, leaving the Pakistan military deeply vulnerable. Given such a situation, the question that arises is, can Pakistan continue down its path of further escalating tensions? Joining us live, Major General Shashi Asthana, defense expert. We also have Major General P.K. Sehgal, defense expert, joining us live. Major General J.K. Bansal, defense expert, also is live with us. Captain Akhilesh Saxena, Kargil war veteran, also joins us live. Let me make it start with you first, Major General Asthana. What do you make of this strategy by Pakistan? 10 consecutive days, ceasefire violations by Pak. What is to be read into it?
See, as far as Pakistan's strategy is concerned, they are very clear that they cannot fight conventional war. And as you brought out in the commentary, their ammunition reserves are low. They also gave some ammunition to Ukraine and to earn some money. But notwithstanding that, the problem is that they do not have the surge capacity also to hike up production. So therefore, they know that the only strategy which we have to follow is, after launching a terror attack, the moment India starts preparing for the kinetic action, we have to keep telling the entire world that we are going to use nuclear weapon, because conventional war, we have no chance. They know it very well, and that is exactly what they are trying to do, and tell everybody that there is an alarming situation, there can be a nuclear escalation. The escalation could take place like that. But then we have fought wars within the nuclear hangover, and we have also called their nuclear bluff and so-called nuclear blackmailing, because they can't continue doing terrorist attack because of the nuclear threat and things like that. So that's one part of it. Secondly, as far as the ceasefire is concerned, they are trying to give a message to their countrymen that we are prepared. See, we are active. They are also doing exercises. They are also doing some missile tests, which they should have done much earlier. But notwithstanding that, these are all optics, and optics do not increase the fighting capability. If they have a fighting capability in terms of the logistics up to only a particular limit, it cannot be stretched so fast. Whereas in case of India, we are manufacturing a lot ourselves. We also have tremendous amount of reserves, and in addition, we also have the surge capability to hike up production. You would have seen the recent news of people being recalled from ordnance factories. Basically, it is to increase the surge capability and hike up production. So where in case if there were, 1 or 2 cycles working, there can be a 24/7 cycles working with additional staff. So something like that can be done because see, every country all over the world, you can only have a finite amount of reserve, because if you have too much of reserve and there is no war, that means you lose that much of money. If you have too less of reserve, then you are not prepared for war. So there is an optimum amount, which is different for different people, which I can't speak on televisions. But notwithstanding that, we have the bigger capacity, and the best example is Russia, that they hiked up their defense production by almost 200%, whereas the West couldn't catch up, and that's why Russia has an upper edge today. So same is the problem with Pakistan. Pakistan knows that this advantage India has, and that is why they are trying to go to everybody under the sun, go to Chinese, go to Americans, go to everybody to say there will be a nuclear war, this is the problem, that is the problem, nuclear threat, etc., etc. But the problem is that they are scared, they are jittery, they are finding it difficult. They know that they can't use nuclear weapon, and they know that a conventional option means a fair amount of punishment to Pakistan. Back to you.
Wing Commander Sudhakaran, come in here on on what you believe, of course, has led to this breaking out these ceasefire violations, of course, continuously? Is it psychological offensive by Pakistan? What is to be read into it? Of course, it's being retaliated effectively, but what explains the strategy by Pakistan?
If you use the word strategy with Pakistan, that's the most absurd and stupid thing that anybody in this world can do. When their economy is down in the dumps, which country will allow its non-state actors to perpetrate a crime to kill civilians in a foreign land, fully knowing that its leader's wrath will bring in such unforeseen or things that it has never seen in its history? What do you call that? What do you call that country? What do you call that leaders of? They are merely clowns, puppets in the hands of the generals. And the generals are not busy training for war. They are busy doing business there. Each of the general owns a fortune which most startup entrepreneur unicorns will envy of. For Pakistan, the startup industry starts from its military. Its soldiers masquerade as entrepreneurs. They cannot fight in the battlefield. They hardly have anything other than the nuclear bogey. And we use terms like strategy and try to read too much. I think we are wasting our time. We need to be very clear what is it that we are dealing with. We're dealing with a beast without a brain. We're dealing with somebody who doesn't fight of its own. Please understand, the deep state uses Pakistan as a tool. It has been using it right from 1947 onwards. In fact, the first war in 1947, if you recollect, the general of the Indian army was the British. The general of the Pakistani army was the British, but yet there was a warfare between two countries who were led by generals from the same country. I never understood what kind of a general was he. He didn't have a control over his own army, or probably they actually had a friendly match so that they could achieve their ulterior means. The border that was drawn between India and Pakistan, the person who drew that border had never spent his time in India. So these were part of a long...
In fact, let me draw in Major General P.K. Sehgal also in at this point. Major General Sehgal, of course, reports coming in that Pakistan can ill afford a war as well. Their artillery ammunitions are down to historic lows. What do you make of this report? Reportedly, they are down to war fighting capabilities for just 4 days.
Absolutely and totally. They are in absolute dire straits. Their morale and motivation is down in the boots. Their leadership is absolutely panicking. There is a vertical divide in the leadership. As far as General Munir Khan is concerned, he never took the Prime Minister into confidence. He did not take the Corps Commanders into confidence. And now the Corps Commanders are telling the Prime Minister it's high time that General Munir is replaced. Several Corps Commanders have written to the government saying that they were not taken into confidence, and what Munir Khan did was an act which tantamounts to betrayal of the country. The cause for which they're fighting is also ridiculous. They have virtually no cause. What they did in Pahalgam is something that is absolutely, totally unacceptable, and something that makes them feel foolish and absolutely shamefaced. The entire world has risen up against them. As far as India is concerned, India has been given absolutely total and 100% backing by the Americans. They've got, whenever the Prime Minister of the country or the President of the country or even Mark Rubio makes a statement, it's for public consumption, it's for domestic consumption, it's for international consumption, and the real intent is hidden between the words. They've given an absolute assurance to India that you can go ahead and do what you wish to do. It's for high time that you act against terrorists. Similarly, Lavrov has given an assurance to our External Affairs Minister that in actuality, they would want Pakistan to be taught a lesson of the variety that they've never learned before. Our Prime Minister has gone on record to say loud and clear that all those who are perpetrators, they'll be chased till the end of the earth, and they'll be given punishment of the variety that they've never can even imagine. And this is exactly what India is going to do. Pakistan, once again I said, is in dire straits. The Balochistan Liberation Army is making hay while the sun shines. So is the action by the Taliban as well as the Tariqa-Taliban and Pakhtunkhwa. I'm told that two cities, Waziristan and Kalat, are almost gone out of Pakistani hands. The writ of the Pakistani government is no longer running there. People in Pakistan are now, for the first time ever, beginning to realize that the difficulties that they are enduring is primarily because of the army. And should the people of Pakistan begin to realize this, I'm afraid Pakistani army is going to be in trouble. In other parts of the country, whether it is Pakistan occupied Kashmir or it is within Pakistan, there is huge amount of demonstrations against Pakistan. Same thing is happening in Sindh. So except for Punjab province, virtually the Pakistani government and the Pakistani army have virtually no control over the rest of the country. Under these circumstances, even if they had reserves, even if they had ammunition, etc., they cannot fight a war. And unfortunately for them, they had sold off all the ammunition to Ukraine to make a huge amount of money. And today they have got absolutely no reserves whatsoever. Nor do they have the multi-barrel rocket launchers from China, but they don't have the ammunition rockets for that. They have the medium artillery guns from China again. Just about 3 to 4 days of shells for that. Similarly, they don't have fuel, they don't have diesel, they don't have spare parts. Their F-16 will be grounded in a matter of 48 to 72 hours because of lack of space. Their pilots are not being trained. They are totally. You need lots of fuel to undertake training, even to maintain those caps, etc. They will not be able to maintain even caps beyond 2 to 3 days. Half their radars are non-functional. Their air defense equipment that they bought from China is turning out to be mostly turning out to be duds. And they've deployed all their radars right opposite us. Our electronic measures have already got the signatures of those radars. Within the first 24 hours, Indian Air Force will completely remove all the air defense of Pakistan. They are trying to do their very best. They're doing cyber warfare on us. They're trying to do psychological warfare on us. They're trying to do information warfare. Everything they've tried, but they are not succeeding at all. India's retribution has been so far has been marginal. They have been violating ceasefire on a daily basis. Firstly by small arms, thereafter by mortar shells, and thereafter now they've brought in artillery. India's response has been measured. They're wanting to provoke us for an all-out war in POK. India knows that if we get involved in POK in a very major way, China may be forced to act. But I'm very, very certain Chinese under no circumstances are in a position to come to Pakistan's aid at this point of time, except for giving them commitments and giving them assurances and saying that our relationship is higher than the Himalayas and deeper than the oceans. They can send to them some sort of shells and some sort of rocket launchers, etc., to aircraft. Virtually, there is a blockade of Karachi port. Nothing of essence can come in through Karachi. And bringing anything and everything from across the border by aircraft is cost prohibitive. Same are the limitations as Turkey is concerned. I don't think any other country, they've gone to Azerbaijan, they've gone to Arab countries, they've gone to various countries. I do not think any of them will be supportive of
Yes. Major General Bansal, let me also quickly draw you in here. And of course, this, this very, very startling statistic for Pakistan. They can ill afford a war. However, of course, the jingoistic statements continue by their army, by their political leadership, and ceasefire violations along the border continue. Clear difference between reality and hope by Pakistan.
Good evening, Uday. Very rightly you have said, not only their leadership and their politicians, but now their diplomats also crying for the nuclear war. This is the Mohammad Khalid, who is ambassador to Russia. He has mentioned that, yes, in case the India do any misadventure, we will go with full power, including our nuclear weapons. Now, this selling their artillery 155 to Ukraine, their general, they have earned $364 billion, which is a kind of corruption they do always. And now the General Bajwa, the former chief of Pakistan, he has warned earlier that yes, we don't have any capability to fight war, not only ammunition. They don't have the proper petrol for the exercise. They cannot do war gamings. Their ration has also been cut down. So all these things are their capabilities had gone down, morale of their troop is low. So Pakistan is not in a position to fight war, and they call this bluff of nuclear attack, the tactical nuclear weapons. They I don't know whether it's a functional or not. It may not be functional at all, and they must understand that India has got a very strong second strike capability in case of such an eventuality, and Pakistan will be wiped out from the map of the world. So, uh, moreover, whatever ammunition they have stored just near the border because they thought that any time it can happen. But this just to gain or to earn some money, they have sold the sovereignty of their country and they are not prepared for the war. And despite that, they have done this carnage in Pahalgam, and now also they are trying all. They have gone to such a low down that they are hiking. That the hackers are defacing the website of India, including the children for the veterans and all. This is totally unethical because the Pakistan cannot fight. They don't have any character. They don't have any ethics. They don't have any kind of morality. So how can they fight a war against India? Back to you.
Yes, let me also quickly get in Captain Akhilesh Saxena, Kargil war veteran. Captain Saxena, when ceasefire violations happened continuously for 10 days, what is to be read into it by Pakistan? Are they attempting to up the ante? Is this psychological warfare? Is this nothing but saber rattling given the reality through the reports coming in of their, startlingly low artillery ammunition? Captain Saxena?
Yeah. So see, this ceasefire violation is a clear message. That's for not us, that's for the international community, that we are just because they cannot fight the conventional war, as some of my senior has just put it. So it's a message to the international community that that war may escalate, it may go into the nuclear threshold. So please come and mediate. So they are crying because they exactly know that they have already started bleeding. See, we need to understand one thing: we should not play into the hands of enemy. Now, they have purposely done that particular attack because they want to, obviously, Pakistan always use the terror as a weapon, right? Because they cannot have the ability to fight the conventional war with India. And they have got few design. One, to divide the country based on religion, few other things. And they thought, internal disturbance will also start in India because of this, based on the religion. And they also wanted to pull India into some kind of escalation, immediate reaction. But your revenge has to be served cold, right? You don't have to react like a jihadi or a terrorist. You are educated. Let's plan your strategy. And I will tell you, some of these things which we have taken, it's already bleeding Pakistan. The first thing, as we say that we are going to take step, first thing what Pakistan did, that they have started their deployment. They have deployed their entire army. They do not have the entire their weapons and their artillery shell because they have given to Ukraine, as everyone knows. But still, the cost of deployment is, in 3 days they are kind of getting depleted by $1 billion. Now, see, it's all about money. If you really see, the total foreign reserve with Pakistan is 8.5 to $9 billion. Out of that, they cannot touch 5 billion because of the obligation. Now, rest 4 billion, if you just keep their army deployed, full-fledged army, entire front, they are going to be, finished with their foreign reserve. So that's an area of concern. So they want to escalate it quickly through these, violation of the ceasefire and bring somebody to mediate for them. Second, as soon as the armies are deployed towards India border, there is an unconfirmed report 2 days back. BLA has attacked Pakistani army and 102 soldiers are being killed. They are trying to hide these reports, but if you really find out from Pakistan sources and media, these are unconfirmed reports which are coming. Yesterday there was an attack by TTP and 22 Pakistan soldiers has been confirmed killed. So they understand that they cannot keep the army for too long because and India does not even have to fight a war. They can bring the Pakistan onto the knees without even doing this. So second is the trade war. As I say, it's all about money. If somebody will not have anything to eat, and Pakistan is a food deficient nation. So even if India has restricted the import and export from the Pakistan, but it was still happening. It was happening through Dubai, UAE. So everything was going to Dubai and from Dubai to Pakistan. Now, if you just have gone into the detail, now Indian government say not even the indirect import or export should be there. And this is going to, and this was huge. This was 1.3 billion every month. So if we stop this, there has to be crisis of food grains, and this can be used as a very, very important weapon. We are just going to block the Karachi port, because the moment we just we don't have to do anything. We say we will doing the excise there, and all your food ships and all which are coming, which are bringing the grain, they will stop, because they know they don't want to be into the ceasefire. So just by doing this step, and third is your industry team, right? Now we are not obligated to give any data to Pakistan, right? It's very easy right now. Just release all the water. What will happen? They are just trying to do the deployment, and when all these canals network, they will get flooded. Their plan will anyway get kind of disturbed, and then reserve the stock for next 15 days, because that's what our capacity. That the season they will need the water maximum. And today, Pakistan, within Pakistan, if you have heard the news, there is a water war going on between Sindh and Punjab, because both the provinces want the maximum share of water. And if we are able to cut even 10% of the water, where close to total 180 billion cubic water is flowing through Indus River, and 80%, which is around 143 billion cubic, is used by Pakistan. If we are able to cut even 15% of that, you will see there will be a war. So these are the very important method, that we don't have to do the direct strike. You will see in 15 days, Pakistan will come onto the knee. So that's an act of provocation. We just have to say that anyway, we have stopped the airspace, Indian airspace, and that's going to cost nearly 3 million for Pakistani airlines. We will also have to cost some money for our airlines, as we will have to divert few flights, but Pakistan cannot afford these kind of loss in terms of their airline
Yes.
industry.
Yes, absolutely. Mijin Lasana, which is why also it's not just military offensive which will follow against Pakistan, retaliation, but it's a multi-pronged strategy that the Indian government this time has adopted, which is obviously attempting to choke them completely, financially, economically, and through water wars as well. These latest steps being taken on their ships and trade are just an example of that.
Certainly, this time we have adopted a strategy which involves all domains of comprehensive national power of India. So, whether it is diplomatic, economic, as someone was pointing out, similarly, the Indus Water Treaty, the power of water, the power of other, all other instruments are being used. And to put it simply, we have to create a divide between Pakistan military and reduce the influence of Pakistan military by making the entire population realize that their dastardly terror attack was actually hitting their livelihood, not only the livelihood of the Kashmiris because of the tourism, but it is also hitting their livelihood. Because as one of the panelists brought out, if the reserves go down, then the petrol and food on the streets for people, that goes down. Now that impacts the people. And also we have to, let me strategize the whole thing in a very short thing. See, we know that Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Balochistan, they are boiling. POK is boiling. Sindh is fighting insurgency as well. The only stable place was Punjab. Now, if we choke, and maximum military hierarchy comes from Punjab, and maximum land these generals have allotted for themselves is in Punjab. Now, if you choke the water of Punjab in some manner or the other, then what happens is this Punjab, the employment in Punjab gets disturbed, the investment in Punjab gets disturbed, and then Punjab also boils. And that is the problem. That is the time when Pakistani military will feel the pinch, because country will realize that military is leading us to such kind of situation. Yes. So that is the...
General Sehgal, I'll leave the last word to you. General Sehgal, are you there with us? Okay, I think we've lost him. All right, let's slip into a short break. We're back on the other side with lots more. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us on this discussion.